Good to go?
Good to go. All right. Luke, you giving us a go ahead? Green light? Sweet.
All right. What's up, R Squad? Welcome back. My name's Colton. I'm an intern here. I'm going to handle this series, give the big man a break. So today we're going to be talking about friendships, and I brought my friend Alex along here with me to talk about that today. Alex, you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Alex Schwery. So, a little weird for me going from interviewer to interviewee. You know, kind of run my own thing at the high school, but I'm also an intern with R Squad. Yeah, we're not R Squad, but Renovation. And, I'm here.
Good job throwing your plug in there. All right, so kind of a little icebreaker. Get us started. Get the juices flowing. Got a question for you. Is soup a cereal?
Is soup a cereal?
I mean,
Is cereal a soup?
that is what I meant, yes.
Okay.
Is cereal soup. But is soup a cereal would be interesting too. Let's get that one.
Oh, man. I could say no way soup is a cereal. Like, it's completely different. You don't cook cereal.
Okay, a cereal soup.
Okay, I also think that cereal is not a soup because you cook soup. Most soups.
But cereal is cooked too. You gotta bake the.
Well, if you're making your own cereal. But, I mean, whenever we think of cereal, we think of, like...
What if you get soup from pre-made?
Well,
Not
you're still
soup,
heating
then?
it up. Well, unless you're doing, like, gazpacho. But, like, that's different. That's like cold soup. That's its own thing.
Is it soup?
Is gazpacho soup?
Yeah.
It's cold soup. It's its own thing.
So is cereal not cold soup?
No, because it's not gazpacho.
All right, we're getting off topic. Let's hop into the good stuff. We're talking about friendships today. So I got a little statistic for us.
All right.
According to the CDC in 2021, 42% of students felt persistently sad or helpless. In other words, they were lonely. So if almost half of students feel this way, why does it feel like I'm the only one?
So, loneliness. Loneliness is something that that I've dealt with. But loneliness, I mean, it makes you feel like you're the only person. Like you're the only person around that anybody cares about. Like you're just that one person, and you're just like an outcast.
Yeah, for sure. I think we've all dealt with that, and it's kind of contradictory, right? Because everybody's going through it. Half the people are going through it, and that's just the ones that are in the statistic. Like that's not even the people that said they were fine when they weren't fine. And like, so why does it? It's really just hard to fathom. Like, why does it feel like it's just me?
Yeah.
And we're gonna be kind of talking about that a little bit today. So now we're gonna hop into some scripture. I'm gonna have you read that for us.
All right. Psalms 142, 4-5. I look for someone to come and help me, but no one gives me a passing thought. No one will help me. No one cares a bit what happens to me. Then I pray to you, O Lord. I say, you are a place of my refuge. You are all I really want in life.
Yeah, and that's actually a message from David in a time when he was being tracked down by King Solomon and he was trying to kill him.
Yeah.
And I think that's just so like relatable, right? Like
Yeah.
we've all gone through those moments where we're just at our lowest low and just feel like nobody cares about us, nobody loves us, and like good thing for David, like he was talking to the Lord in this moment and asking for strength, but I think a lot of us don't have that same mentality about it. So when was a time when you have felt lonely? And looking back, were you actually lonely, or was that just a feeling at the time?
Yeah, so like I mentioned, like back in I felt lonely. So like back in my 10th grade year, like just getting out of COVID, like just going back into school, everybody's like wearing masks, you know.
Yeah.
You just kind of feel isolated, you know. You felt alone. Like I felt like that nobody was going to notice me. Like I just kind of felt lost, kind of adrift. And I mean, I wasn't alone. Like I mean, I had you, I had my good friends, like I had my parents. Like it was just something where I wasn't like actually alone, but I just felt like I was, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of students can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely felt alone during COVID and after COVID too. Getting back in the rhythm of things was pretty tough. So now let's kind of transition to like, what is loneliness and like, what is isolation? Because they're two different things, but they kind of have similar definitions in our head.
Yeah.
So loneliness is the feeling of being alone. So like you're alone in your head, basically like you're mentally alone. And it's really only there if you make it there. Like you don't have to be, you can be lonely, but still be around people. Like I think you probably experienced that. I've experienced that.
One thing to add to that, like, you know, you can be in a crowd of people and you can feel like you're just the only one
Yeah.
there. Like, I mean, you're at a party, you're at like maybe a football game, like
Mhm.
you're in the student section, and you just kind of feel alone, like nobody around you, like you're not talking to anyone. You're just kind of in your own world.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
that's scary stuff, isn't it?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is some scary stuff.
So on the other side, we have isolation, and isolation is when you're physically alone, like you're away from people, you're in a quiet space. And isolation was actually a tool used by Jesus a lot of times. And we think of like isolation, we're like, oh, that person's by themselves. Like, that's not good. Like, but Jesus actually used isolation to grow in his relationship with God. And we're going to be talking about that a little bit more. So yeah, seasonal isolation can actually be a positive when we a lot of times look at it as a negative.
Yeah.
So now knowing the definition of isolation, how can you use that as a tool in your life?
So I feel like, again, like kind of how Jesus used it, just a time of like meditation, like just a time alone in your thoughts where you can really think to yourself. Like, I think whenever you're alone and you're really thinking and you have no outside distractions, that your mind can go to places that it normally doesn't. So like you can think about God, like almost like that you're having a conversation with God whenever you're alone. Like whenever just all outside distraction is there, it's just you, maybe the Bible, and you're just reading, and you have that kind of that personal, you feel more personal and more close with God. Like that just kind of builds that kind of personal relationship with him.
Yeah, for sure. Like when there's nobody else around, it's just you and him. It kind of gets like a little more intense.
Yeah. Yeah, it does get a little bit more intense. The emotions start running a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's a good thing too. Like
yeah.
it's really important to make that time every day, set that time aside. Like this is my time with God. I don't want anybody else around me. I don't want no distractions. You just set that time just for you and God, and you can really use isolation as a way to get forward rather than seeing it as something holding you back.
Yeah.
All right. So we have a little more scripture I'm going to have you read for us.
Okay. All right. Luke 5:15 through 16. But despite Jesus' instructions, the report of his power spread even faster, and vast crowds came to hear him preach and be healed of all their diseases. But Jesus often withdrew to the wilderness for prayer.
So yeah, could you imagine that, being Jesus, having people wanting to be around you all the time? Everybody's hearing about your miracles, like they're following you, they want to be with you, and then still he sets apart that time to be with God and reset himself. And it's really cool how like in the Bible you can like, he specifically makes a point to be in isolation.
And I think that that's something that's really powerful about Jesus. Even though that he's around, like all these people are seeking him out everywhere he goes. Like he constantly has people following him no matter what. Like he makes the time to be alone with God.
Yeah.
And just
That's
that
important.
alone time to just talk with God and just be apart.
Yeah. It's great. So how does your friendship versus quiet time balance look? Like how much time you spend with your friends and how much time you're spending with God, and how could that improve?
So I spend a lot of time with my friends. Like we're always going out. Like maybe we're hanging out, maybe like playing some cards or doing something. Like I feel like I'm always constantly like in the loop, and especially with like social media, I just feel like that no matter what, you're always on. Like until you go to sleep or you like put your phone down, you're just always on. Like you're just it's never quiet time.
Yeah.
And something really powerful. It's just like maybe sometimes like you're out in the woods or you're just like you're out camping and you don't have that cell connection and you're just apart from like your phone. And it's just powerful just to like take a walk and just be alone and not like constantly filled with like social media. And I think that quiet time is definitely something that I need to improve.
Yeah.
Like I read my Bible a little bit. Like I try to do it. Like I make sure to do it at least every week, but it needs to be like every night. And
Yeah,
it's
for
just
sure.
really hard to balance that because, you have so much stuff going on. Like being a senior in high school,
Mm-hmm.
you just always are doing something. Like, I mean, I try and like, you're trying to have enough extracurriculars and you're trying to boost your college resume. So
Yeah.
you just feel like you always have to do more.
And it's so easy to fall into that trap of just like, I don't have enough time. Like I can't put aside that time. Like I need that time, but there's always time. Like,
Yeah.
you can always find time to be intentional and have that time with the Lord. So, and it's very important to maintain that relationship with the Lord because that reflects on your friendships, right? Like if you have a strong relationship with God, your relationship with your friends are going to improve, and vice versa. If it's kind of weak, it's going to be a lot weaker with your friends. So on the contrary, spending too much time in isolation and constantly forcing yourself away, even if you are spending time with God, like, we are still supposed to have close friends, and
Yeah.
close friends are important. So if you're spending too much time alone, it's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah.
Like, you just have to maintain that balance on both sides.
Yeah, and I think that like what you touched on last week in your podcast with Jordan, just having those close friends and those good friends that are willing to, maybe that one verse that stuck out to me, like I think it was your wounds. It's better for a sincere friend to give you wounds than kisses from the enemy.
Yeah.
And that really stuck out to me. That was a really good verse, and it shows the importance of having good friends around you.
Yeah. All right. That about sums it up. Any last words for you?
I think we covered it all. I think that was good.
All right. Bottom line, you are not alone in feeling alone. And isolation is an opportunity to not only grow in your relationship with God, but grow in your relationship with your friends. I'll see y'all next week. Come back. We're going to be talking a little bit more about friendships. See you soon.
See you soon.